Do I need to silence the game?
No.
Okay, then I'll shut up now.
All right, we're good to go.
All right. I mean, do you introduce me or do we just dance?
You can dance.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and start just because there's like a minute and a half cutscene at the very beginning of the game. So 3, 2, 1, go. Hi everybody, I'm Cheesereaver, the powerhouse of the cell, and welcome to Parasite Eve any percent. It's a game with an awesome soundtrack, a unique combat system, and someone whose only takeaway from biology was that the mitochondria are in fact the powerhouse of the cell. I am joined on the couch, of course, by my own mitochondria, but I'm actually sitting in a chair, not on a couch, so that's a thing. And at the end of this, for every time mitochondria is mentioned in this game, I will be donating $1. Luckily, because I will be text mashing like a madman, I already know what that number is. But yeah, this is set in Christmas 1997. We're actually starting out on Christmas Eve, going to Carnegie Hall. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Well, generally you take a taxi.
So speaking of, what is that number if anyone wants to play along with how many times we get mitochondria mentioned in this game?
So it is 88 times mitochondria is mentioned in the script of this game. There is no way everybody's going to catch everything because this game is like 45 to 50% button mashing.
So for those of you who want to play along and donate $1 in addition to cheese to the charity, or even if you want to donate like 10 cents, if you can't donate that much per time that mitochondria is mentioned at any point, then yeah, let's do it.
Shout out to J-Chalk.
Is Jay going to match it?
Oh no, no he is not. He might after he saw what I named the main character, but...
Oh, got you.
But yeah, so we had a minute and a half cutscene, we do 15 seconds worth of button pressing, and now we have like another 4-minute cutscene. This game, especially in the early game, it's a very heavy cutscene to gameplay ratio. It works itself out a little bit later. We have decided to go to the opera to see some unnamed opera. And, you know, it's an opera, so they're over dramatic, but they'll have a reason to be real dramatic here in a minute. And while Sinneth is AFK, if anybody donates $10 during the run, I will personally do the mitochondria wrap. Oh god, it looks like there was money just donated, which means I may have to do a mitochondria wrap once he gets back. Alright, so, you know, son wants to marry girl, king father says no, she should be burned at the stake because she's a witch or whatever. It's an opera, so she decides to sing about how she feels about that. One day I'm gonna make up words to this song, but today is not that day. The best graphics 1998 had to offer. Parasite Eve. Here's the moment where real recognizes real. And decides she just has to burn this place to the ground. He's on fire! He's on fire! So yeah, for some reason... Hey, Nabson, thanks for the good luck. So for some reason, of course, by seeing our main character, the actress, Melissa, who she's currently known as, has decided to set everyone in the building on fire. Kind of a jerk move. You know, not considered really good tact in high society. Quick roll. So between the opening cutscene and this cutscene, we did do one little bit of menuing where we unequipped our starting pistol and equipped the club that we start with. We actually do the vast bulk of day one of this game with the club, partially because it actually does more damage than the starting pistol, and partially to save ammo for later. And so this is the actress Melissa, who hasn't started calling herself her new name just yet. We'll wait until Sinneth comes back and does the read on that donation, and then you'll get your wrap.
Well, speaking of, Akago comes in with a $35 donation that says, I said I would if I sorted my paycheck stuff out, and I did so. I went towards saving animals.
It's a terrible choice, but I did promise while you were away, because I really wanted to do it while you were away, that for every $10 donated within the run, I will do the mitochondria wrap. You donated 35, but that still only counts as one donation. So, now it's time for the energy maker, the powerhouse. I'm a real booty shaker. I make ATP out of oxygen and food. What's my name? Mitochondria, dude.
Excellent. So yeah, for every $10 we can make Cheesereaver do that wrap, and trust me, it's worth it for every single time we get it.
And each time I'll try to do it with a, a slightly different inflection or something. Alright, so we just hit the actress with a club because she was shooting lasers at us. And now we're going to jump in a giant hole in the floor into the basement of Carnegie Hall. You know, normal stuff.
We did not start the timer. I apologize.
It's cool. We're not making any world records today. Oh, also go ahead.
It has been a weekend for me, let's just say that.
No doubt. Also, an ongoing theme of this game is chasing ghostly little girls down hallways. It's a thing. Alright, and for those of you counting at home, this is our third cutscene, and we have had one battle. The cutscene to combat ratio in the early game is awful.
Also, as a reminder for those of you who are donating towards that Powerhouse of the Cell incentive for every $10, if we get to $2,000, I'm going to go to a beach here locally where I live in real life. I'm not that far from the ocean myself, and I'm going to have a video ready of me cleaning the beach the entire day to put on stream for when we do this in April.
And that's awesome. Alright, so, rats turn into really, really big rats. And a warning for anybody who has any phobias about fluids and ickiness and goo. This game is not for you. It is a very gooey game. So in this room, we want to make this corpse fall down as quickly as we can so we can steal a key off of it. And then we're gonna go read the actress's diary, because we're a jerk. This game has a lot of text mashing, and we are not allowed to use turbo. So my arm is gonna be really tired by the time this is over. Alright, and by reading the actress's diary, we got another key. Some of you may be used to games where keys are either kept in like a separate special items type inventory, or your character will drop them when they're done with them. Yeah, not in this game. That key we just got to this door in Carnegie Hall, you can carry it through the whole game if you want to, and it will take up an inventory space, which you do have a very limited inventory in this game. And we're currently at 4 cutscenes, 2 combats. Also, this is in Carnegie Hall. I don't know how expensive that piano was, but in Carnegie Hall, I'm sure there are no cheap pianos. So she just destroyed a very expensive piano. And she's decided to start calling herself Eve. Alright, so in this fight, she moves around a lot. We want her to use lasers. We do not want her to punch us in the head, because her punching us in the head hurts a whole lot more than lasers do. Which seems kind of weird, but, you know, who am I to argue? So I'm gonna take, since it's marathon, we're gonna take this nice and safe. Try to not get punched in the head. And so, the combat system of this game is really one of the main reasons why I love it. It's very unique. It's kind of this sort of isometric perspective that you run around, but you still have you have free movement all the time, but you can only act when your active time bar fills itself up. And then different weapons have different ranges and damage values and whatnot. It's really fun, and I'm only aware of like one game with a similar combat system, Vagrant Hearts, which is not nearly as good because its soundtrack just isn't nearly as good. All right.
It also doesn't have mitochondria in it.
Also not about mitochondria. In fact, I believe there are no mentions of the powerhouse of the cell in that entire game. Which, I mean, what's up with that, really? Alright, so now we're in the sewers, everybody's favorite level in any video game. And of course, what do you do in the sewers? You fight rats. You go into the sewers, you fight rats. It's just how this goes. Alright. So when I deal damage, most of the time my damage numbers are in white, but occasionally they'll be higher and in yellow. This game does have a critical hit system. We don't fully understand quite how it works, but we know something about proximity to the enemy. The closer you are, the more likely you are to crit. And, oh, there's also a frog. It's not just rats. That frog tongue really hurts. Alright, now we're gonna go pick up our first marathon safety. We are gonna go pick up a couple of revive items, which, if we happen to die, will revive us on the spot. Otherwise, we will game over and that will be bad. And of course we don't get to fight with the rats, so we'll have to reset the room until we do. There we go. So certain fights are scripted, or at least scripted in that you always will get a fight when you walk into a room, and certain rooms just have a percent chance. Alright, ooh, I only got 1 revive out of that, so that's a little unfortunate. That's okay, 1 revive, and I can pick up a few more throughout the game. 1 revive will get us to the next one at least. And then we're gonna open this here chest to pick up a gun. Because, you know, why wouldn't there be a chest with a pistol sitting in the middle of the sewer? And look, there's a ghostly little girl. We should definitely follow her. You should always follow ghostly little girls in this game. Except we're not going to just yet. We are going to go pick up a few items to make our weapon better, and then we'll follow the ghostly little girl. So we got an offense +1 for our gun, and another offense +1 for our gun. Both of those chests can actually contain either an offense +1 or an offense +2. We're going to use them on the gun we just picked up. Then we're going to equip that gun, the M1911, heal up, and now we're going to follow the ghostly little girl. Now in this room, we actually have a fight we could skip. Ooh, but I'm not gonna. Oh, I got it. Whoo! Alright, so the way fights work in this game is you have to cross certain planes to trigger the combats. Well, in that room, you can get in a fight with 2 of the frogs, but if you walk just right along the top edge, you can skip that fight, which is great because actually getting that fight costs you 45 seconds or so. So we have another standoff with Eve where she says her mitochondria is special, mitochondria are awesome, the nucleus sucks. That's really her whole theme is mitochondria rule, nucleus rule.
Imagine someone counting how many times mitochondria gets mentioned in the stream and then donating against that.
Donating against that instead of the actual number of times it's mentioned in the game.
Like, can we beat how many times it's mentioned in the game?
Oh, I can absolutely beat the number of times it's mentioned in the game. And I definitely have had runs of this where I am. More gooiness, of course. Like I said, this game is very sticky, very gooey. There's lots of fluids everywhere. And so we've seen that Eve can turn rats into monsters and frogs huge. So here's an alligator. This one, oddly enough, Eve didn't do anything to it. This is just a normal New York sewer alligator. At the beginning of this fight, it's going to tell me that there are 2 targets. This one you can actually target either the head or the tail. Well, that's going to hit me. That's okay. I've got the revive and some medicines. So we want to kill the tail first. Because if you shoot the head, he will run up and punch you in the face, and it's not good. Alright, that should be it for the tail. And then we'll go into phase 2 of the fight. Thank you, Trey Spire, for the raid. And in this one, we are only shooting the head. And it's going to shoot fireballs at us, because why not? Once again, this is not actually a mutated alligator at all. This is just a normal New York City alligator. Oh, he's gonna punch me. Ooh, that hurt. It's okay. There we go. Alright, and killing the gator, that is the first boss down. And now it's time for a bunch of button mashing. So yeah.
This is also not the gator from the new Fazbear game.
Absolutely not, because we killed it in 1998, or 1997 actually. Oh, that's our partner Daniel there that just walked onto screen, and he has a bad habit of sucker punching people. Oh, I don't know if I stated it, but our main character, whose name is normally Aya, but in honor of J. Chalk, I decided to name her Eris. She is a New York City detective, and Daniel there is her partner who just sucker punched that reporter. And they have a conversation here about mitochondria and how it sucks and that the nucleus is awesome. Basically, this entire game is just Team Mitochondria versus Team Nucleus. And I can stop button mashing for a moment. And I like to read this part all dramatically. It all started with this incident. 6 days that were to become a nightmare for all. What you got?
We have a $3 donation putting us to $1,400 total from J Cup Chalk Gaming that says 1,400 pounds of trash. Hype!
I did this for you, Jay. Thanks for the donation. But I've named the character Eris for you, Jay, which means you are honor bound to watch the entire run.
And if you're just joining the stream from the raid, thank you again, Tracefire, and everyone coming in from Jay's channel to support Cheesereaver. We're doing $10 will get Cheesereaver to do the mitochondria rep live on stream. And if you want, you can match Cheesereaver doing 88 donations in either 10-cent intervals or $1 intervals. Those 88 intervals are for the 88 times that mitochondria is mentioned in this game.
That is correct. Luckily, I did not have to hand count them. Someone else did that work for me. Someone dumped the entire script, so I was able to just search the script and find out how many times it was mentioned. Alright, so we're at the police station now. The captain has just given us a mod permit, which we could use to modify one of our guns, but we're not gonna. We're just gonna head down to the armory and do some other stuff. This here's Wayne. He's the cocky hotshot that everyone knows exists. And of course, his boss, Torres, the actual quartermaster, who doesn't put up with Wayne's shenanigans. These two characters were actually brought back. They have a cameo in the synthesis shop in Lindblom in Final Fantasy IX. So yeah, this is mostly a bunch of button mashing with a little bit of menuing involved. Torres is going to give us a new gun because the captain told him to. He just handed us an M16, and then he asked us if we want to modify it, but we don't, because that just takes time and doesn't do us any good. Then we go to Wayne. Wayne acts as our storage chest, basically, for the game. Any items you don't want, you can dump on him and not have to worry about it anymore, which we're about to do. So we are going to discard the armor we were wearing, and these keys that I said we can't drop, we're going to store them with Wayne, and then we're going to grab the tool out of this box, which is a secret for that we'll use later. Now we'll walk up and, definitely walk towards this suspicious child wearing all red. Turns out this is your partner Daniel's son, Ben. And they have tickets to go to a play in the park today. As it is, in fact, Christmas Day in-game.
Well, how fitting, because it's the week before Christmas here.
That's right, this is a Christmas game. Not a whole lot of Christmas video games out there. It's not like Christmas movies where they're...
Die Hard is a Christmas movie, right?
Well, Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. But there are, millions, no, not millions, but there are dozens upon hundreds of Christmas movies out there. Christmas video games are much less normal.
Yeah, in far between.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few, Santa-based games, I guess. But alright. And it's going to be a little while before we fight anything else. There's just a ton of button mashing. We're going to go do a press conference now. The press is going to ask us questions about everybody being set on fire. And the captain's going to be like, oh, she survived due to her training. And the reporter's going to be like, I was asking her. It's kind of great. Slap that table.
Yeah, Chad, just to kind of remind you, the next really big incentive that we're working towards is the $2,000 mark. If we hit that, there's going to be a live stream, a full day of me going to a beach, a real life beach, and cleaning all the trash off that beach. And I already selected a beach nearby me. So this is going to happen on April 23rd, and it will be streamed live on Twitch. So if we can get to that $2,000, you want to see that happen?
Do you want to see him in misery cleaning up a beach for an entire day? Of course, knowing Sinneth, you know, he picked the cleanest beach around. I'm on to your game, Sinneth. I'm on to your game.
we actually picked the dirtiest beach around. So a lot of people know what state I live in, and that's Massachusetts. The beach that I selected is named Salisbury. So if you look up Salisbury Beach nearby Massachusetts and you see pictures of the beach taken there, you're going to see how much work I'm going to have to do.
I'll have to do that, and then I'll go eat some Salisbury steak. Dinosaurs were just mentioned. Remember that for later. Much, much, much later. So Aya and Daniel have to come to this museum because apparently at the Natural History Museum there's some doctor who researches mitochondria at the Natural History Museum, because that's normal, right? Alright, and then we try to go upstairs, but then the guard's like, oh, could you sign the guest book? I'm pretty sure this is just a ploy for the game, so that once you've done this, by the time you get upstairs, Daniel is already at the door, because he just walks everywhere and you run. Alright, now we've got like, I don't know, 4 minutes of straight button mashing, but we're gonna meet the doctor, Dr. Hans Clamp. Listen to that very soothing keyboard noise. Alright, keyboard noise over.
I'm actually trying to look up pictures right now. A lot of them are professional photographer photos, so obviously they're not going to show trash.
Yeah, generally, they're not big on that. All right, so this is Dr. Hans Clamp. He is a mitochondria researcher, and he is the #1 superfan of mitochondria. The statement "mitochondria rules, nucleus drools," he came up with it. And he really likes to talk about mitochondria. And this is one of the arm hurting sections of the game because it's one of the longest continuous button mashes. And then he just found out that the actress who set everybody on fire started calling herself Eve, and then he just abruptly ended the conversation. So we go back to the police station. It's now nighttime. Daniel drives at warp speed, apparently. Daniel just slams the door in our face, doesn't even care. Alright, so we're brought in for a briefing or whatever. Captain Baker is like, people are still congregating at the park, at the amphitheater, even though the show's been canceled, and they're worried about Eve showing up and burning everybody again. Daniel's all like, but that's where my son is! And so, he runs off. And then Baker hands us another mod permit that we're going to throw away. Now we have to do one of the longer menus of the game. We're going to stats. One gun there. Sort. 16. Armor. I did this in the wrong order, but that's fine. So, in this game, the weapon system, there's some customization to it. You can use items called tools to move bonus stats from one weapon to another, or specialty parameters from one weapon to another. And so I moved the bonus stats from the M1911, which we fought the alligator with, to the M16, which is the gun that Torres gave us. So now we're gonna go to Central Park. But to be fair, we spend most of our time in Central Park at the Central Park Zoo. Oh, Daniel catches fire, trying to get in, which means Eve must be there, or he forgot that he soaked his jacket in lighter fluid, one or the other. But for whatever reason, we are unaffected by Eve's light people on fire ability. And so we're gonna head into Central Park and fight some giant snakes that I'm not actually convinced the snakes are modified in any way. They may just have been let out and they're snakes and they're attacking people. I mean, it's a big snake, but you know, there's a zoo, so. Alright, we got a really bad starting active time. That's the blue bar that fills up. And when it's full, we can actually take an action. It can start at various locations along the bar. But we did get good crits there. And so we killed those snakes. They deserve to die. So we're gonna go into the zoo. And we're gonna fight one of the awful enemies in the game. They're birds of some sort. I think they're supposed to be crows, but I'm not 100% on that. But they're jerks. And they drop junk. And I don't mean junk in that they drop a bad item. They literally drop an item called junk. Like, see, they drop 2 junk. We're not going to pick those up because they're not useful unless you can gather 300 of them, which would take way longer than I want to spend on a speedrun. Alright, so we're going to grab that key for marathon safety. We're going to grab this armor. And then, like any good zoo, they keep a grenade launcher in the closet, so we're gonna grab that.
You gotta keep that grenade launcher in the closet, just in case one of those crocodiles comes out.
I mean, it's true. Alright, so we are going to... Yeah, we grabbed a new armor. Normally in a run you don't grab that, but, you know, marathon safety, more important to finish the game than... This box has a chance for tool or ammo. It is tool, which is good. Now we are going to take the damage from that grenade launcher we just found and put it on our main gun. So now we're gonna fight a couple of crows and a boomerang guy, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to have been a monkey that got mutated. But I just call it boomerang guy. I only shot one crow, not both. Target switching, there are certain times in the game where switching your targets quickly, or switching targets mid-shot becomes important. Alright, and you know what? I'm a little low on ammo, so we're gonna grab that, but we definitely don't want the junk from the crows. And we're gonna heal. You do a lot of healing between combat in this game. Alright. And so I have 2 bullets currently in the magazine of my weapon. One quirk of this game is if you end a turn at 0 bullets, you get a free reload at the beginning of your next turn, like with no animation, doesn't cost you any time or anything, which is really nice. Alright, and now I have 100 bonus points. Bonus points are points you get every time you level up. You can spend them to either increase your active time, to get faster, or increase stats on your weapons or armor. I just put points into the attack on my gun. Now I can, if I critical hit, I can one-shot the birds, which is nice. It can make the fights take a turn or two less. Each turn costs you 10-ish seconds. So we're gonna head up to the big amphitheater where the play is supposed to happen. And I'm gonna once again give everybody a trigger warning. If you do not like goo or stickiness or fluids, you should look away for a minute or so. Especially if you don't like goo coming out of people's eyeballs. Yeah, that's a thing. My goo, my precious goo. So it turns out Eve can not only just set people on fire, she can rip all of the mitochondria out of their body. Which is, of course, not great for their cells, because, you know, the mitochondria being in the cell and the powerhouse of that cell. It's not great. Oh look, a ghostly little girl. We should follow her. We have a quick little conversation here, where Aya's like, what the hell did you just do? And Eve's like, yeah, you know, some stuff. And now I'm out. Later, loser. Alright, and since we only got one revive from the rats in day 1, we're gonna go right here into the gazebo, and there is another revive hidden in a chest here. And because our ammo's not great, we're gonna grab, there's a chest over here that's got some ammo in it. Okay, you know how I said normally you're supposed to follow the ghostly little girl? Well, she's gonna go off the bottom of the map. We're not actually gonna follow her this time, because we know where she's going, and we're gonna take a slightly different route there. This will allow us to pick up another tool, which we'll use to move some stats around on our weapons. Routing out how to do your weapons, and how many tools you have, and what weapons to use, is a big part of this game. Of course, all the routing's already done. The route I'm running is called the Hammer 5X route. It was pioneered by the current world record holder, Crazy Awesome. And so I picked up...
Crazy.
Shoutouts to Crazy, who is probably still asleep right now. And it looks like we've been joined in chat by Moogie. If you run this game, Moogie will find you. He follows all of the Parasite people. Alright,
That's
so...
a Parasite superfan right there.
That absolutely is a Parasite superfan. So if you'll notice, I just reloaded my gun, but just to an even number. Since my current gun does 2 shots per round, I always want my ammo to start at an even number, so that I'll get a free reload when it hits 0. And now I'm going to do some switching off on these crows, hoping to get crits, because right now I can one-shot the crows if I crit them. Of course, I'm not getting any crits at all, because why would I? This is Marathon. And I get the one pity crit there at the very end. Yeah, we're good. Alright. And luckily those are the last birds we'll fight for a minute. You have to be very careful when fighting the birds, not the fight itself, but afterwards, to not pick up the junk, because then it takes a bunch of time to discard all of the junk, and, you know, we're speedrunning, we don't want to waste time.
Right.
We're speedrunning for the ocean.
Well, speaking of speedrunning for the ocean, I just kind of quickly remind everyone why we're here. So, Team Green Gaming started as an idea back in October when Mark Rober put out a video announcing their initiative for Team Seas, and I kind of thought to myself, no one did a charity marathon for Team Trees last year. Where's the people that are trying to raise money to save our environment? Why isn't this a thing yet? Why is no one on Twitch trying to save our planet? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. We're going to make a charity marathon that is going to be speed running to save the planet. That's right. Every single year that we do this, we're going to be picking a charity whose cause matches something that is saving the planet, whether it be planting trees, cleaning trash out of the ocean, cleaning our air, doing what we can to reverse the climate change that has happened to our planet so far. So if that's something that you have strong feelings for, something that you want to see come to fruition, something that you want your children to experience down the road, and they don't have to worry about these superstorms that we're having, the tornadoes that are hitting, you know, all these things that are devastating our planet, and not to mention living in a cleaner environment when they grow up. Let's make it happen, chat.
That's right. And this year, it's of course Team Seas, which is all about cleaning plastic out of the ocean. And I believe it was said for each dollar donated, they can remove about 1 pound of trash from the ocean.
Yeah, that's right. For every dollar that's donated during this marathon, we are cleaning 1 pound of trash out of the ocean through the Ocean Conservancy. Team Seas is partnering with the Ocean Conservancy and the Ocean Cleanup. The one choice I had between those two was the Ocean Conservancy, so that's what we're raising money for. But yeah, please, if you can donate, please donate, because that $1 donation does not work after the first of the year. I don't know what their plans are next year, but when we get to next year for April, when we do this again, we'll be looking to see which charity can make the most impact.
Yeah, it's a great cause. Alright, and now we're about to fight our next boss. These are the worms. So this is a boss, there's four worms, and they will, every time I kill a worm, all the remaining worms will both get larger and get more health. So I kind of want to kill them in a specific order and try to later on I'll try to even out my damage so that I kill the last two as close to each other as possible. That hit me in the noggin. Yeah, Moogie, it's my favorite. Let's go with that. Alright. Good lord, that. He's got weird timing on them. Alright, so it's 90 damage on the middle. I've done no damage except for that 90 to either of these.
Alright, so I've tried fixing my microphone a little bit. Hopefully I'm going to cut off a little bit less. I'm just going to do a little bit of another motion here. So if there's other things that we're doing during the marathon, every $10 that you donate forces Cheesereaver to do the mitochondria rap during the run, so be sure to hit that if you want to hear him doing that rap. Also, every time mitochondria is mentioned in the script of this game, Cheesereaver has pledged to donate $1, which is 88 times. If anyone in chat wants to match that with either a $1 donation or a 10-cent donation per mention, that would be amazing.
Alright, and that turned out to be a pretty good worms fight. I was able to one round the final really large worm can really put a hurt on you. Alright, and then I'm going to take the bonus points that I gained for beating that boss, put them into my weapon, reload my gun to an even number, use the medicine, because this next boss... So this is kind of a boss gauntlet. You fight the worms, and then you fight Eve again, and she can put a hurt on you. And, well, we do not want a hurt put upon us. Also, we're about to fight in the tiniest arena that exists in this game. And that horse is on fire. So if you see the bed of this carriage, that is the entire arena that we can move around at. Literally just from corner to corner, and that is it. Alright, so Eve here, she can either fly up and do an AoE attack, or she can just swing at us. We want her to swing at us. It does way more damage, but it's much faster. But her swings can crit you for pretty ridiculous amounts of health. Ooh, she almost got me there. Had she crit me there, I would be dead, and I would be burning a revive. But so that was actually a really good Eve 3. She says some more stuff about mitochondria and how ours has awakened, and that she set a horse on fire or something. I don't know. She says some stuff. Mitochondria is involved.
Something
mitochondria. Something the powerhouse. And this right here, because I have a wireless controller, I'm actually playing this on PlayStation TV, which was a mini console released. It's basically a PlayStation Vita, but it's a mini console instead of a handheld. And I'm using a PlayStation 3 controller that's wireless. And because of that, I'm about to have to button mash for like 6 straight minutes. I'm gonna take a bio break while button mashing, so I'll be back. You can talk about, cleaning up the ocean from trash and such, and cleaning up a beach directly.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been a super long marathon. We have been live. I've been in this chair, not the entire time, but even though it says about 3 hours there, we've actually been live since Friday night. So we're getting to the 40-hour mark right now with nonstop streaming. If you missed your favorite run, if there's a run that you wanted to check out in the schedule that you missed, we're going to be highlighting all the videos and putting them up on Twitch and on YouTube. So be sure to follow this channel if you want to see your favorite run, or use !YouTube if you want to go see it on YouTube. You can also use !Twitter just to see what we're doing throughout the year. You can use !Discord if you want to follow the marathon over on Discord. We have a marathon channel over here, which will be posting what we're coming up to. Once again, this marathon will be running again April 22nd is the start date. Throughout that entire weekend, April 23rd will be the day that I'm doing the beach cleanup if we get to $2,000, and then April 24th is more runs. If for some reason we raise a ton of money by midnight tonight, which is not that far away, we're 12 hours away, but I have hopes that we could make it. If we get to $3,000, we're doing a week-long marathon instead of just a weekend, which would be absolutely insane. So I can only hope that we would do that, but that's high hopes. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, we've already shattered the original goal, so that's...
Yeah.
I mean, 1,400 when your original goal is 1,000. That's that's great.
Yeah, I'm already super happy, and I mean I know I am asking for more, and I shouldn't say I couldn't ask for more because I am.
I couldn't ask for more, except I totally am directly asking you to give more.
Right.
I get it, man.
But,
I get it.
But I went into this marathon thinking, either very little people are going to show up. I'm going to raise like maybe $100, maybe $200, and it'll be a small success. I mean, I was going to be happy with that. And then we got like, I think an hour in, and we had raised like $400 already. And I'm like, what is going on?
Hey, people care about plastic in the ocean. It's been a big thing in recent years. I know at one point it was bigger than Texas, which means I'm sure it still is bigger than Texas, but I'm sure they have some other milestone that they probably use now than Texas. But yeah, Texas is real big, y'all. It takes like 18 hours to drive across Texas. So that's a lot of plastic trash.
Imagine a state that is, I mean, if you looking at a map does not do Texas justice. Like Cheese just said, it takes 18 hours to drive across the state, and that is, I think, from the longest direction you can go.
Yeah, that's pretty much
longer than that.
That's pretty much east-west, like coming in near Houston, leaving near El Paso. But it's still, I mean, that's 18 hours worth of driving, which is, whew. I've made it once. It's not fun.
Yeah, that is almost an entire day of driving. So imagine that, but out in the ocean, floating around somewhere. And it's not just like, oh, it's that long. It's actually like top to bottom, left to right, that big. And it's just sitting in the middle of the ocean, filled with plastic, filled with styrofoam, filled with other garbage that has been put into the ocean. So, I mean, every little dollar that you can donate gets 1 pound of that trash out of the ocean, which is a ton of trash.
Yeah, you got to think, plastic is very light, so a pound of plastic is probably a lot more plastic than you kind of think it is.
Right.
I know somebody did the math yesterday, and it was a lot of plastic bottles. I don't remember exactly what the math was, but
I think the math came down to 50,000 plastic bags is about 600 pounds.
Yeah, which 50,000 plastic bags is a lot of plastic bags. All right, so we've been in a coma. Sorry, back to game. We were put into a coma, sleep, whatever you want to call it, state after the whole thing with the horse and Eve and whatnot. And so we've been in this apartment that appears to be closed up and has a fire in a barrel inside the apartment. How we have not died of carbon monoxide poisoning yet is questionable.
Typical hobo living.
Typical hobo living, but even I mean, maybe there's a vent and we just can't see it, because we can only see 3 walls. Maybe there's a vent on the 4th wall.
Mm-hmm.
But this,
or there's a big window open.
So this new character in blue here, he is a scientist from Japan named Maeda. And what he is describing right now is incidents somewhat similar to this had happened a few years earlier in Japan. And so Parasite Eve, the game, is actually based on the movie, which is based on the book. But the book and the movie are more like, they're prequels. The things he's describing that happened in Japan are actually the events that come out of the book/movie. And then this is a sort of a sequel.
This is one of those rare times where the game was based on the movie and not the other way around.
Yes. But it's like a sequel to the movie. I've never actually watched the movie. I've only read, like plot synopsis and whatnot. Nor have I read the book. But I've played the game a lot.
I mean, unless the movie has the mitochondria wrap in it, I don't think it's a good movie.
As far as I'm aware, the movie does not contain the mitochondria wrap. And honestly, having never seen it, I don't know if it even contains the phrase the mitochondria or the powerhouse of the cell. If it doesn't contain that, it's truly not worthwhile. I just tried to hit my split button, but I don't have live split running.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
When muscle memory and speedrunning a game go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Okay, Moogie in chat is saying that the game is based on the book, and the movie is based on the book. So they're both based on the book. It's not a full chain. It's just two branches, but the game's basically a sequel to the book. So that was my understanding. Like I said, never read it. Probably never will. All right, so we woke up at Maeda. I don't know that it's Maeda's apartment or just some place he was squatting in, because the city was evacuated while we were unconscious. Which it's got to be bad when they actually take the time to evacuate New York City. And so there's a few things we're going to pick up here in Soho. One of which is going to be the gun we're going to be using for a little while, and it is our first submachine gun in the game. Submachine guns are a blessing and a curse. You don't get to choose what target you're shooting at. They shoot really quickly, and you get your turns back really quickly, but you don't get to choose what target you're shooting at. It shoots at random targets. But to compensate for not being to choose what you do, if it says you shoot 5 times, you actually shoot 7 times. You get a 1.5 multiplier on your on the number of shots you fire. Alright, so I picked up all of that, so we will tune the stats from the M16 to the M11, which is the machine gun we just picked up. Equip the M11, use the bullet plus that we just got. Everything else is defense. We'll sort. And then we'll leave the gun shop, which Daniel shot the door to get into. And then on the other side, one direction is a gun shop, the other side is a pharmacy where I could go in and pick up a few things. But since I still have 2 revives, I don't really need to pick up anything from the pharmacy. But gameplay-wise, you have to enter before you can continue the story. So we're just going to walk in and then immediately leave. Alright, and now we are going to take the scientist Maeda to the museum to go to Dr. Clamp's lab. Says it should be empty because the city has been evacuated. And this is a good solid 6-ish minutes of button mashing and storyline.
For a chance to talk about what chat is doing every time they share, every time they view, every time they donate, every time they chat in chat, like the channel, do anything out there to help spread the word about what we're trying to do. I mean, it's just beyond amazing, and it just goes to show how many people actually care about the planet that they're living on right now.
Absolutely. And we do have to give a big shout out to speedrun.com. I know they've featured the marathon on their front page several times throughout the weekend.
Yeah, we're still featured right now, actually.
Awesome. So the basis for this whole little scene is Maida scraped some of the mitochondria goo off of Aya, the main character's jacket, and he's going to introduce it to his blood to see, how they interact. And the next cutscene was made by someone who clearly doesn't understand the sense of scale when it comes to cells and atoms and whatnot. Because it's like, all right, there's some DNA. Now we're back up at tissue, which is weird. We went from DNA to tissue. I don't know what that's supposed to be, maybe like a cell. But then we're at atom stage. We've moved down to atoms. Then we're gonna move back up to mitochondria. Also, fan theory. That's the X Parasite. The entire game happens within the Metroid universe.
I love a good headcanon.
And Aya is merely one of Samus's ancestors, or may in fact be immortal due to her special mitochondria powers, and is Samus herself. Just, change names at some point. Sorry if you can hear me button mashing. There's not really a nice quiet way to button mash this game.
Just kill your controller in silence.
Yeah. I'm gonna feel real bad the day this controller finally dies, because PS3 controllers are getting harder to find. So now Aya's like, we'll try the mitochondria goo with my blood. We'll see what happens. And this is where you find out that Aya may in fact either be Samus or just be, Samus's ancestor. Because the X-Parasite comes in, tries to attack, but her mitochondria fight back. Which means she's got Metroid DNA to fight off the X-Parasite, making her, at least, if nothing else, an ancestor of Samus Aran. I tried to fix my noise gate, Moogie. I tried.
All right. Well, it's been a hot second since we've heard that mitochondria rap chat. $10 just to get Cheesereaver to do the mitochondria rap. Let's see if we can get it to happen.
Yeah, it has been a minute. So it turns out Dr. Clamp did not evacuate with the others, even though he was supposed to. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't heard the mitochondria rap before. It does contain me saying the phrase booty shaker. Got Clamp skip. It's going to be a good run. So in this scene, Daniel, while they're talking, he's just kind of looking around, and he looks at Clamp's computer and sees his son's name on the computer, and starts yelling at Clamp. Well, Clamp normally walks over and turns off the computer screen before this whole thing happens, but if you button mash quickly enough, it skips that little scene. It saves like a half a second. It's really, Clamp skip is more of a meme than an actual strategy. Have they discovered me? No, I'm still safe. Alright, and we're gonna go back to the NYPD. Because you don't know where to go in this game, try the NYPD. So in that little scene you find out that the list on Clamp's computer was HLA recipients. So for like organ donation. But why would a mitochondria scientist who works at the Natural History Museum have a donor list? Alright, so we make it back to the NYPD and the place is trashed. Eve has attacked, but they have a little conversation here. Because Maida and Daniel were able to enter the building without catching fire, Eve must not still be here anymore. And now Maida's going to hand us a piece of trash. He does this a few times throughout the game. He hands you good luck charms and such. They don't do anything but take up inventory space, so we're going to go hand that to Wayne, who is our item storage guy. But first, a dog and a crow. So as you can see, the submachine gun I have just shoots so quickly. And that dropped an offense +1, which we're going to use. Alright, we're going to go into the armory. Turns out Torres was attacked by one of those dog creatures, but didn't shoot back. Because there's some backstory to Torres. His daughter was killed in a gun accident a few years earlier, and he became very anti-gun at that point. So he wouldn't even shoot the wolf back, or the dog man. But now Wayne gives us his gun, so because he still had a gun, he just didn't use it. Alright, no, not store. Alright, so we're going to store the zoo key and the Hamaya. We are going to grab the ammo right here off of the counter. And then we're going to hope this is our first screen where we have a chance for a refight. And we got it. So most screens in the game, there's just, walking in whether you're going to get into a fight or not, which is fine. But also when you pass back through a screen that had a fight in it, you have a certain % chance to get into another fight. We generally don't want these fights. We need a few of them throughout the run just for experience purposes, but you don't want very many of them, and like here in the early days, you really don't want any of them. This here's Kathy. She was an officer that was taking care of Ben and the canine units. And the rats have gotten a major upgrade. They can now put way more of a hurt on you than they could earlier in game. He just hit me for 51 damage, that's a lot. But we're about to pick up a new armor, which has an auto potion feature to it. So if our health drops below a certain number, it'll automatically use one of our medicines, which is super nice. Let's see if we get the other two day 3 refight. Oh, there's a scene. There's some intermittent scenes during this when you leave certain areas of Ben following a canine unit named Shiva around. He became friends with her during one of the cutscenes while we were unconscious. And didn't get the refight in this room, so that's 1 for 2 on refights in day 3. Here's one of the detectives here. We are going to check on him just because he's going to hand us some bullets. We do not want to run out of ammo. And then we're going to go back here into the press conference room and pick up our next armor. This is the CM vest. We're gonna discard our old one, use all the defense +1s we have, and equip our new armor, which is now better than our old armor and will auto potion us if our health gets too low. Speaking of, what is our health? Yeah, we're gonna heal a little. And now we're gonna go upstairs in the police station to try to find Ben, who is, of course, Daniel's son, who is following around the K9 unit, even though she clearly does not want him to follow her. I'm gonna just go ahead and warn anybody out there who has issues with dogs turning into eldritch horrors. You're gonna want to avert your eyes in a few minutes.
I gotta watch this actually because I love eldritch horrors.
I mean, I guess there aren't that many tentacles, so eldritch may not be quite the right word, but it turns into something pretty horrible.
We need more games with more eldritch horrors. Like, someone make a Lovecraft game, a game based on the world of Lovecraft. I would play the heck out of it.
That would be pretty awesome. Or, you know, a Cthulhu game. Could be fun.
I mean, we have the Call of Cthulhu. That's a thing.
True, but it's different, you know. I mean, I'd say Carrion has definitely some eldritch horror things going on with it. Alright, so that's Captain Baker, of course, who has come and saved Ben. And, dog turning into eldritch horror warning now. Started as a K9 unit. Ends up as Cerberus. With extra tentacles and wings and stuff. They kind of beat the crap out of me, but that's okay. Alright, I got a tool at the end of that fight, so we've got more guns that have stats that we're gonna move over. We're gonna heal up again. We're gonna load our gun to a multiple of 14, or of 7, because currently it's a ×5 gun with a 1.5 multiplier, which means it shoots 7 bullets per round. About to face the boss, so we're gonna heal up as much as we can. Reload, no bonus points. And now we're gonna go fight Cerberus.
Cerberus at least a 3-headed dog.
Yeah. I mean, it's got extra, like, tentacles and stuff, but it's at least a 3-headed dog. And in fact, there are 3 targets. So there are safe strats to do this and not safe strats. I'm, of course, doing the not safe strats. I'm just gonna stand right in front of the dog and get smacked around some. So we really want to kill the middle head first, because it is the one that can, as we just saw, heal the other heads. But since we are using the machine gun, we cannot control who we hit. Okay, I need some contact damage, please. I need some more contact damage, please. Nice. Every time she roars, that's one head dead. There we go, there's some contact damage. There's another head dead. And so now we can just stand and deliver. There we go. And we don't want the gun she drops. And that is Shiva / Cerberus dead. Ben is sad because his friend, the dog, turned into an eldritch horror and had to be murdered. But he blames it all on Eve, which, to be fair, is Eve's fault. She infected the mitochondria or whatever. That's the end of day 3. And I just hit my... I just hit my split button, because that's gonna be a thing I'm gonna do sometimes.
Excellent.
You know, it's second nature to hit that split button. All right, so it's day 4, and we're looking for Maida, the scientist. Luckily, I know exactly where he is. And one quirk about this game, should anyone out there want to learn how to speedrun this game, A, don't. But B, if you really decide you want to, you can join the official Parasite Eve speedrun Discord. Speedrun.com has it. But a lot of us actually congregate in Crazy Awesome, the world record holder, in his Discord. Which, if anybody's interested, DM me on Discord or on Twitch or wherever, and I can get you that. But there are lots of resources. The biggest resource is a guide by a guy named Primus, or is it Primus? Primal? Primal. Yeah. And it will literally lead you through every room of this game. It tells you what door to enter, what door to leave, gives you things about fights, when to tool weapon stats over. It's really one of the most in-depth speedrunning documents I've ever seen. And it's great. Where was I going? Oh, so where I was going with that is it's really good that it tells you what direction you need to be going in each given room, because as you load into rooms in this game, before the screen actually transfers back from black, Aya will start moving if you're holding a direction. So basically, every door transition you make, you're holding the direction you want to start running in the next room. Alright, we're gonna go to the hospital, because we're looking for a sperm bank. Because Eve is looking for a sperm bank, because that is what the Eve-like character in Japan did. Because Eve is not, in fact, well, I mean, she's the bad guy, but she's trying to birth the ultimate being and needs some sperm to do so. And Maida runs up to the door, starts getting hot, so he knows Eve must be inside somewhere, because that's one of the things that happens when you get near her, is you catch fire. And he hands us another piece of garbage. And then we'll go into the elevator lobby. And what do you know? Ghostly little girl. We should follow that ghostly little girl. Unfortunately, that door is locked, so we can't follow her just yet. But we're going to find a way to get through that door so that we can follow that ghostly little girl. Unfortunately, Eve doesn't like us being wasteful and using the elevator, so she cuts the cable and sends us crashing to the basement. And then she cuts the power. Like a real jerk. So we need to pick up a few fuses to fix the power, as well as some keys to be able to open up the doors to get into the room where we can fix the power. So shiny orange things, you always want to pick them up anytime you see them. That's just, I mean, really, that's a fact of life, though. You see shiny orange stuff, you should probably go ahead and pick it up. Oh, look, it's a ghostly little girl. Let's follow her. Ah, yes. Nabson in chat has referenced the moment of truth coming soon. So, halfway through the hospital here, there's a chest where you get your next gun, and there are two guns you can get there. Either the Micro Uzi or the M10. We want the Micro Uzi. It's the better gun. It's everything about it's better. You can still finish the finish with the M10, and it's fine. But the Micro Uzi is it's the faster weapon, and it's just better. So we picked up the autopsy room key, so we're going to go into the autopsy room. And this is the one place in the game where Aya realizes, you know what, I'm never going to need this key again. And after she uses it, she throws it away. Which is kind of nice. Alright, now we've got jellies and bugs. We don't want to step in the green goo, because it'll give us a condition called stiffness, which is kind of basically like slow. It both physically slows how fast Aya runs around the arena, and slows how fast your turn comes back up.
I'm going to be a little disappointed if we only get to hear the mitochondria rap once.
It is fairly early on a Sunday.
True.
No, wait, that's fine. Alright. So we're gonna go over here, get into another fight, and then we're gonna pick up a key card. It's all about, you go here, you fight something, you find a key card. You go here, you fight something, you find another key card. Being a hospital, it's very key card centric. There's a crispy corpse here at the bottom of the screen that you can kind of barely see. It has the next key card we need. And then this next room, the autopsy room, is the next possible refight, and we didn't get the refight, which is nice. Because by the time we're doing our next fight, we will have the new gun. Eve said she hopes we enjoy our stay. We'll find out what that means here in a second. The key card we found, and I will throw it away. Oh look, another ghostly little girl. And oh, Eve trashed the stairs. Alright, moment of truth. Which SMG do we get? We got the M10, the inferior of the two guns. It's okay, we'll still be able to easily finish the run. It's just gonna be a little slower. Alright, we're gonna do some tuning up. We're gonna move our stats from our M11 to our M10, and then we're gonna move the ×2 rate of fire from this grenade launcher onto that M10. Equip the M10. And we're gonna go fight the first mixed man, which is this weird thing with the orb sticking out of its forehead. And that orb is targetable, and you will waste bullets on it. This thing also slows you. Luckily that one didn't go too badly. And then in the corner of this room, there should be an orange shiny. And that is the third fuse. Also, I think I accidentally picked up a Cure M. I did. Inventory management, especially inventory management at the end of fights and not picking up items you don't want so that you don't have to go in and discard them, is a big part of this run. So as you can see, Eve trashed the circuit board. But that's okay, because we're going to just put some fuses in it, and it'll be okay. Put in the fuses we found. We have Aya repair the wires, which is apparently, as bad as those wires look, as simple as just snipping them together. And then we turn the power back on. Yeah. Thank you for the nice fight there, Nabson. We are running on about a 30-ish second delay, just due to weirdness with me connecting to the server. Unsure on that one, but it's all good. I can talk on a 30-second delay. Alright, so now we've turned the elevators back on. We're going to go back up to the ground floor. Oop. The direction you have to run, like what's up versus down in a lot of these is weird. And look, now there's two ghostly girls. Well, we definitely have to follow them. Now we get to use our new gun on stuff. Which just does way more damage than the old gun. And now this door here at the top of the lobby is open. It was not open before. One interesting thing about the AI in this game, if an enemy is the type that's supposed to charge you, and you can body block them with another enemy, it'll just kind of reset their AI for that turn, and they'll skip their turn. Which we like to use against these bugs. Even though the entire city and the rest of the hospital appears to have been completely evacuated, there's still like 3 people left in here, 1 patient and like a single doctor and nurse. We're gonna burn some med 1s because they're really not useful anymore, and nobody is gonna drop them anymore. I just need to get them out of my inventory. Bad time to need to reload. And now it's flashback time. So we've been seeing the flashback to this room, like, in different cutscenes throughout the whole game, with the little girl in the bed. But now there's 2 little girls in the bed.
I hate it when little girls in bed suddenly multiply into more little girls.
One of whom is missing an eye.
Like, if I put my daughter to bed and suddenly there are 2 of her up there, I am probably going to be calling a priest.
It's one of those where you gotta, yeah, you're on a rooftop with a gun, and each of them is trying to convince you which one's the real daughter, and. Alright, so that nurse gives us the next card key we need, and... Alright, you can get a refight in that room even though we haven't left it. Luckily, we did not get that refight. We are getting this refight, and then we can get a refight in the lobby. Alright, she just wanted to unload on that rat guy, which is fine. Then I can unload on the bug, and it's all good. Need to heal... I don't need to heal, but I want to heal. No, that's the wrong direction. Try to keep my bullets at a multiple of 3. Alright, do we get... Alright, we got this refight too. So 2 for 2, or 2 for 4 in the hospital on the refights. It's about typical luck. Generally, you end up with about half of the total refights. Alright, they got me and I'm poisoned. I think this is the first time I've been poisoned in game. As you can see, my health is just slowly but surely ticking off. It doesn't do much damage, but, you know, over the course of a fight, it ticks off quickly enough that it eventually does a decent bit. And there are, you know, cure peas that can cure poison and whatnot, but I don't generally use them. Alright. And here's a doctor. The primary purpose of this is this doctor is going to tell us where the sperm bank is. It is up on the 13th floor. We'll use this green key card and then discard it. Now we fight the big jelly. Alright, good. Didn't drop an armor. That guy has like a 5% chance to drop an armor instead of ammo, and then we just have to discard the ammo, or the armor. So here we're going to turn off the liquid nitrogen supply to the sperm bank. And then we're going to go upstairs to the sperm bank. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to say sperm bank way more than I've said mitochondria. Which, of course, remains the powerhouse of the cell.
I was just thinking, if I had the script to the mitochondria rap, if we got like a $50 donation, we could do like a duet back and forth rap.
There is, in fact, an extended version of it, but I don't have the script to it on hand. And I was supposed to open this fight with an energy shot, and I forgot to. So energy shot is an ability that I've gotten. I have like, I guess spells would probably be the best way to put it. I have parasite abilities, that the game calls them, that I can use. Thus far, I've pretty much only used healing, and even then just between battles. But now I've gained energy shot, which I'll actually use in combat sometimes. And it takes all of your current parasite energy and puts it into one bullet and does damage based on how much parasite energy you use. But it leaves you stunned for a few seconds after you use it. And dog food medicine 3. Alright, good. Killed off the mixed man pretty early. they can the orbs they have, they can continue throwing those. Like they'll grow new ones and continue throwing them virtually forever, and that can turn out really bad. I think I just picked up a medicine 1. Cool, burn it. And now we're coming up to the sperm bank, or this is a room that has a lot of names, not all of them super family friendly. So we're gonna call it the load zone. It's family friendly enough because if you're not old enough, you won't get the joke.
We only just started calling it the load zone back in DPX.
Yeah, we only called it that for what, 2.5 weeks now or so. Like not that long. But yeah, it has other much more vulgar names that we're not going to use. Alright, so now I've got to pick up, it forces me to pick up 1 junk. Just, it makes you do it.
You gotta pick up junk in the load zone.
You do have to pick up some junk in the load zone.
Excellent. You know where else we're picking up junk?
In the ocean.
You got it.
That's right, and we're gonna discard this junk out of our inventory, much like Team C's is working to get all of that junk out of the ocean. That was a smooth segue. Smooth.
That was a super smooth segue. Speaking of junk out of the ocean, do you know how long it takes for plastic and trash to decompose?
Hundreds of thousands of years.
Oh yeah, it's up there. So despite getting rid of all this trash, yes, it's going to be taken out of the ocean, but it's still going to take a very, very long time for that trash to get gotten rid of. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is it's a good thing that we're doing, but every little thing that you can do at home to recycle a piece of trash is one less piece that ends up in the ocean or in our landfills or whatever your local area does for getting rid of trash. It's one less piece that's getting thrown into a pile that's just going to sit there for hundreds of years. So I just wanted to let people know that my family personally has gone green as much as we could. We've spent efforts in only using recycling bags, only using recycling cans, glass that can be recycled. All of our shipping labels that we use for our personal business at home and all of our shipping packages that we use at home here are all recyclable. We try to recycle all the electronics that we have by either giving it to someone else or taking it to a specialized recycling dumpster area where it can be reprocessed and reused. So, I mean, this is the amount of effort that I have personally gone into making sure that less trash gets into the ocean.
Well, I commend you for that. We also have a recycling program where I live, and we always sort out our recycling. But we're fighting a spider brain right now. That's a thing that's happening. And it's probably pretty much dead. Yeah, it doesn't have a ton of health. It has 2 phases, one where you're fighting it at a much higher overhead angle, and then the much closer one. It's a pretty simple fight, though she can be a jerk and hide on some air conditioners where you can't quite reach her properly. But she didn't this time. Also, there is some really interesting research into some bacteria that they're trying to basically eat plastic and turn it back into basic materials, and it's really interesting stuff. Not that that's me saying no, throw all your plastic trash out. That's cool. That is not what I am saying. Reduce, reuse, recycle is still. So that pilot just got gooified. And this is a spot in the vanilla game, for non-speedrunners, people playing casually and they're playing for the first time. This is a spot where you can die really easily if you don't know what you're doing, because The jet is now heading, the flaming jet is now headed for this roof. If you don't get off the roof quickly enough, you just die. It's just a game over. And if you don't know where to run to get off of the roof, we're running toward this little window washer thing over here, you'll just die. And you better hope you saved before the spider brain boss. You die, Eve wins, you know. And here we have to fight this spider. Oh, and I got really bad AT. And I didn't get a crit. Have to fight the spider fast enough that we can hit the brakes on the window washing crane or whatever it's called before we hit the ground. I don't believe that part's actually timed. I think you can take as long as you need to kill the spider, but it's the principle of the matter. Yeah, they have a conversation about how much mitochondria sucks. No, I think it's actually that Eve did manage to get some sperm from the load zone before we turned off the liquid nitrogen.
While we have a little bit of silence here, I'm just going through and getting some of the awareness of what's coming up still. We have some hype things coming up. We have, of course, Super Metroid being run by Kevnastics, doing one of the most memeiest routes that you can think of. It's called Club Nintendo %. If you thought that there was no meme routes for Super Metroid, you need to see this because it's hilarious.
Wait, that's
for
Club Nintendo, not Nintendo Power %?
That's Club Nintendo %.
Ooh, that is a meme run.
That's basically 100%, but like really dumb.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run to this warehouse real quick and pick up an item. Normally, when you get the M10, the machine gun I got, you don't come to the warehouse. You only get it when you come to the micro Uzi. But for marathon safety, I'm gonna go pick up a better armor. Now you can go ahead with your the runs coming up. Oh, did I lose him?
I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think right after me is what, Call of Duty 2?
Yes, Call of Duty 2, any %. And then, so yeah, let's just go through this. So we have Call of Duty 2, any %. We have Sonic Rush All Stages, which, by the way, if you want to see Sonic or Blaze get played in that run, start donating towards those incentives right now because that bid war ends as soon as we get started right after Call of Duty. So we have maybe 4 more hours of donations before that incentive or before that bid war gets closed. And then right after that, we have Metroid Fusion, a randomizer race between Tracefire and Zeke Highland. We have Beatmania IIDX Infinitas. That's going to be awesome. Hello Kitty Cruisers coming in with Fire Splitter. We have Kefka 14 doing Earthworm Jim 3D. Jackal is doing Hotline Miami, and I've seen him play it a couple of times already because we've been doing tech checks, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hybrid Dragonair is going to be doing Golden Treasure, the Great Green. Of course, we are green here, so that's awesome. And then the very last run is going to be Super Metroid.
Very nice. Yeah, Hotline Miami is that's a fun run to watch. I mean, you know, are there bad speedruns to watch? I'm not aware of any. Somebody's gonna come out with something crazy and tell me, "Oh no, you're wrong," and there absolutely are bad ones to watch. But oh, alright, so I've been poisoned by these snakes. And if you'll note now, it was doing like 3 damage before, now it's doing 12. Because I have more health than I did before. It's percentage based. And then we're gonna do our last piece of kind of real marathon safety here. Come on, where's that? There's a tool back here somewhere. Come on. There it is. And since we picked up that extra armor, we're going to move the bonus stats from one armor to the next. And so I remember how I said, you know, the sewer is always the worst level of any game, because, well, everybody knows that. Hope you're ready to go back to the sewer. Except this sewer is somehow worse than the old one. Because we'll be introduced to a new enemy. A terrible, terrible enemy. After Maida gives us some more garbage. And if you donate to Team C's, we can help remove Maida's garbage from the world. Alright, so we've already had most of our sewer tropes, rats, snakes, frogs. How about bats? We all love bats, don't we? No, we don't. If you get hit by the cone, the sonars from the bats, you will be blinded, and it's not good. I have no idea how I didn't get. Yeah, you don't want to get DMCA. And before this point in the game, you actually don't have anywhere, like you haven't picked up any items to cure blindness. Luckily, the bats themselves do drop items that cure blindness. But blind is terrible because every time I attack, you see a green matrix kind of come around me. That's my attack range. Well, when you're blinded, you know, you can still shoot, but your attack range turns to 0 or to 1. So you miss a lot, and it's bad. But that fight could either be 2 bats or a frog. I got the frog fight, which is really rare. Here's the worst fight in the game, and I got it. This is a fight. This is a bonus fight, I guess, if you want to call it. You don't always get it, and it is the worst fight in the game. We dodged sonar from 1 bat, because it's 2 bats, 2 snakes, so you're going to end up poisoned and blinded, and it's awful. Luckily for this fight, it has gone remarkably well.
He says before he gets trolled.
No, I got out of that one really well. Like, that's pretty much as well as, if you get that fight, that's as well as it can go. And of course we get the other sewer extra fight, which could be it's another one that can be either 2 bats or a frog. But we take the frog. Alright. Luckily, we're not in the sewers for that long, but the bats just make the sewers awful. Really, it's just because of the blind. They don't really do much damage, but just sitting there and wasting turn after turn, missing is terrible. Luckily, this right here, this will be our last bat fight. didn't blind us. Very nice. Alright, now we're going to do a little bit of inventory management because I have way more of these darkness cures than I need. I'm at the point where I only need to keep like one on me. And hey, remember all that goo from Central Park? We haven't seen it in a little while. Well, guess what? I love how she points her gun at the ball of goo like that's going to accomplish something. If I shoot the ball of goo, certainly it'll do something. But the goo is not worried about her. It just plops down into the water. Now we can pump that slime to a certain spot. We gotta turn on both pumps to do that. But of course, because we pumped it around, the goo gets mad and breaks some stuff. Because, you know, goo can do that. And then we gotta make sure to turn the pump off. Otherwise, in this next room, there's a little channel you have to climb down into. If you don't turn the pump off, it's still flowing with water, and you can't get across it. Now, luckily, we have made our way out of the sewers and into the subway. Eat fresh.
Not sponsored by Subway.
No, but if Subway wants to, like, send me some free stuff, I will totally shill for you, Subway. So next up, we're gonna fight the mole. And sometimes, usually the mole fight goes really easily. Sometimes the mole wakes up and chooses violence. Alright.
I hate it when that happens.
This one's gonna be fine. He didn't... Like, he can, when it first starts, before you have a chance to do anything, he can punch you 3 times for 60 to 70 damage each. Like, he can just wake up and choose violence. It's really bad. Alright, we're gonna burn a med 2 to get to max. We are going to make sure our gun is at a good bullet number. Now we're gonna go fight the next boss, the centipede. Centipede, it's a boss that if it gets away from you can go really, really poorly. But it can go really well, just depends. Oh, alright, I got poisoned, which is not good. Oh no, don't blind me. Alright, good, I got body damage, not blind. Alright, so I want to... It's gonna break into 4 parts. Ah, didn't get a good, Didn't get a great one. If the timing works out great, you can have all 3 shots hit one of the pieces, and a lot of times it'll kill one of the smaller pieces. Alright, 2 pieces down. Luckily I've got that vest. That was not well done. I think this energy shot will kill did. Alright, that was a pretty decent centipede fight. It can definitely, because you're still using random shots, it can really get out of hand. So we are going to take the stats from this grenade launcher. Had we gotten the micro Uzi, we would actually be taking the frost damage that it can do. Gonna burn a bunch of med 2s. And now we're gonna go up here and we're gonna have the most weirdly placed disc change I have ever seen in a video game. So we're going up this bridge, right? We come right here, we grab the sewer gate key off of this cop. She mentions that it looks like the slime is headed towards the museum. Then we're gonna go back across the exact same bridge. Disc swap time.
Disc swap time.
Like, it makes no sense for the disc swap to be right there. Not when you leave the subway. That would make some sense. But no, walking right back into a room you were just in. Disc swap. I, of course, have to do it through menus and not physical disc swaps because, like I said earlier, I'm playing on the PSTV, which is a Vita mini console. I'm not playing on, which is... The PSP and the Vita are the fastest ways to play this game. The PlayStation 1 actually is really slow. But alright, we've killed the centipede and gotten the gate key, so we are good to leave the subway, which the gate key actually was what was keeping us in, because there's the gate right there. Alright, and now we need to go to the museum. And the museum is really where the difference between the micro Uzi and the M10 machine gun that I picked up in the hospital makes a difference. If you pick up the micro Uzi, you put the grenade launcher you got from the centipede has frost bullets on it. Well, you use a tool and move those frost bullets onto it, and most of the enemies in the museum are weak to frost, so you can really burn through enemies here. I can't do that, but that's okay. Here's a little weird scene where Aya notices this giant scorpion from the doorway, but you don't actually start the fight until you get really close to it. But then at the beginning of the fight, she runs back to the doorway. Scorpion, if you're in front of it when you hit it, it'll hit you with its tail, and its tail can do some real damage. So we, of course, do not want that. Oh, and look, now we're fighting dinosaurs. Remember how I said you should remember those dinosaurs earlier?
Mm-hmm.
They were Chekhov's dinosaur.
Picking Chekhov.
Yeah. Also, technically during some cutscenes had Chekhov's dog long before Shiva turned into the Cerberus, but I forgot to mention it, so. I was more worried about my Metroid fan theory. Alright, so remember how crows were at one point one of the worst enemies in the game, and then it was bats? Well, now it's these things. They drop junk, they hop around, so they like to hop just outside of your gun range, and they don't give good experience. Just all in all, they're terrible. And you'll see, especially, I mean, throughout the whole game, I've been trying to do kind of as much healing between battles as possible. Here in the museum, I will heal between almost every battle. just because everything here can deal a lot of damage to you really quickly. You can get trapped in some loops, and it can go really poorly. So it's good to go into each combat with as much health as you can. Here are some. I don't know if they're supposed to be armadillos or pill bugs or what. I generally call them armadillos, but they're something. And they're weak to ice, so they're one of the many enemies that having the micro Uzi helps on. They're one of the ones that if the three of them decide to time it just right, they can kind of trap you with the rolling at you, and they can put a real hurt on you. Alright, in that fight, you can drop up to 3 medicine 4s, which is the strongest medicine in the game. It heals you for 400 damage each, and I dropped 3. So that's really good. Alright, this can be a refight. Thankfully it's not, because it would be another refight with the little green guys that are terrible. Some things clearly went down in this room. Actually, I believe this is where the pill bug guys are supposed to have come from. And we're going to climb the fire escape up to the 3rd floor. Raptors are really hard to dodge. They don't do a ton of damage, but just that lunge they do has way more range than you kind of think it does. But really, Raptors are what we want to fight. They give good experience. They drop ammo. They don't deal a ton of damage. More Raptors. Oh. Getting stun locked, that's never a good start. Alright, so thus far, we've seen raptors. Those are dinosaurs, and that's cool and all, but really, is that all we got? Is all we got? Oh wait, no, it's not. Pterodactyls. Also, something I did not notice until like less than a month ago, that jelly bean looking statue in the background, or model, that's a mitochondria. Somehow, I've been playing this game since it came out in 1998, and I never noticed that was a model of a mitochondria. Ooh, alright, so this fight could have either been one pterodactyl or these 4 guys. You much prefer, of course, the pterodactyl fight. Because I'm about to get... No, maybe not stun locked, but the little green guys with their tongues can pretty much stun lock you for fairly long swaths of time. But also just, fighting 4 guys versus fighting 1, one is way shorter. There's another pterodactyl. They can shoot blue fire at us. Sounds legit, right? Pterodactyls could totally do that in real life.
Sure, why not? just goes to show that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
That's right, and because they have mutated mitochondria, they can do weird stuff, like, shoot fire at you. Or pill bugs can grow the size of, like, Dobermans. And here, Aya, not Maya. Maya was her sister. Aya is gonna do kind of the dumbest thing she does in the whole game. And just, like, she even admits, wow, if I fall here, it's over. She's just gonna hop from one floor to the next. Like, she's the only one that has a chance to stop Eve, and she's just gonna hop down a floor and possibly fall to her death. And again, I guess she does have the whole mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell on her side. Okay, let's see. We got med 2s. Let's burn all remaining med 2s. We don't need the cure D anymore. And we've got some bonus points to put more damage in our gun. The powerhouse of the cell. That's right. And if anyone out there wants to donate $10, you can hear me rap about the powerhouse of the cell.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, $10 to hear the rap. We're also doing a donation match. There are 88 mentions of mitochondria in this game. So if you want to donate 88 times, and each one of those times could be $1, could be 10 cents, whatever you want. That's a donation match for Cheese running this game.
Yep, I am donating $88. One for each mitochondria mention. Luckily, I'm only doing it for every time the game mentions mitochondria, not every time I mention mitochondria, because I don't know if my wallet can handle that. Because mitochondria is just a fun word to say.
Definitely.
Brain fart. Ooh, got some nice crits on the pterodactyl there. That hallway, that fight can really mess with you just because it's such a long hallway, and the pill bugs can roll up and down it so quickly that they can get in and out of your gun range really easily. We'll kill off the pterodactyl with an energy shot, and then we've just got the raptors, who have to at least close in to attack me so they can't stay too far from me. Come on, close in a little. And just one more quick shot. Now we're going to go into the security room because somebody set the alarm off, probably when, a Triceratop crashed through a door or something.
I hate it when that happens.
But there's some doors we haven't been able to open because the security alarm, the alarm's been on. So we're going to go turn it off, and it's literally as simple as, alright, flip that switch. Then we're going to go to a secret room, which if you've only played this game casually, you may not know exists. Back behind there, there's an elevator. And if you go up to the 4th floor in this elevator, you can find a shotgun and a tool. And some other stuff, but we're just here for the shotgun and the tool. So there's the shotgun. And there's the tool. And we will use that later. Alright, and prepare yourselves for the coolest cutscene of 1998. Remember how I said we had Chekhov's dinosaur earlier? I was lying. The raptors were not Chekhov's dinosaur. Oh no, it's much better than that. Because what's everybody's favorite dinosaur, at least at one point during their childhood? That's right, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. What better than a sticky, gooey, mitochondria-laden Tyrannosaurus Rex? Even I is like, wow, Eve must be crazy. It's like, I would think Eve's actions thus far had already proved that, but...
We already got another $10 donation, and you know what this means, Cheese?
It does. Now it's time for the Energy Maker, the powerhouse. I'm a real booty shaker. I make ATP out of oxygen and food. And what's my name? Mitochondria, dude.
Nice. That came from Usurping, who says, the powerhouse of the cell.
It's important. We all have them. Everybody out there's got some mitochondria. Well, everybody out there should have several billion mitochondria. Alright, so we're back in Clamp's office. This is the third time we've been in this room in this game. But Maida here is going to give us a gun he had Wayne make. It's the worst gun in the game. It literally has an attack power of 1. Oh look, it's Dr. Clamp! Now Dr. Clamp is not even trying to, like, hide the fact that he's evil. He's like, yes, mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. They're way better than the nucleus. But look, you know somebody we haven't seen in a while? Sucker Punch! Daniel. If I had a nickel for every time Daniel sucker punched someone in this game, I'd only have 2 nickels, but it's weird that it happened twice. Alright, so here they have Clamp sit down and explain what's going on. Basically, Eve needed sperm that didn't have any male, any mitochondria in it, which he worked at the hospital to develop or something. And so she got some, and now she can give birth to the ultimate being or whatever. And he thinks mitochondria are awesome. They're the powerhouse of the cell. How do you people not understand how awesome mitochondria are? Blah, blah, blah. Then he decides to put his money where his mouth is. And, well, he decides to give my life for mitochondria! And then he gets, you know, set on fire by Eve. And then he realizes, wow, getting set on fire really, really hurts.
I hate getting set on fire. Personally.
Alright, and my inventory was full. So I need to give up something. He gave us a key. Oh well, my inventory just is chock full right now. That's alright. Yeah, especially when you're like, my life from mitochondria, and then she finally does set you on fire, and you realize, wow, that was a really, really bad idea. That like really hurt. Alright, so now we're going to take that key he gave us and go open a door. This room has a possible refight, but nope. This next room will have it has a guaranteed fight. Oh, okay, that pink cloud that the pterodactyl just did can blind you. And that is, of course, really bad. Especially in a fight with this many things that can do this much damage. Oh, wow. And there we go, finish that off. Pick up all that ammo. And I'm going to start healing using some medicine just because my inventory is so full. Alright, so I used the key that Clamp gave me. We're going to hug the wall and go up these stairs. You know what? What's a childhood favorite dinosaur that we haven't seen yet?
Triceratops?
That is correct. Though, if you look at it, it actually looks like it's got 4 horns, so I guess was a quadriceratops a real thing?
And I was just guessing, because I'm like 30 seconds behind.
Oh. Well, you're correct. But also, was a quadriceratops a thing? I'm not... I liked dinosaurs as a kid, but... I don't remember. Yep, and that charge that he does can do a lot of damage. We're gonna haste up. So haste, it changes basically our entire AT. Our turns come back faster, and we run physically faster. All right, so now, if you notice, the shell on his head, or the bones on his head fell off, so we can do a lot more damage to us, and if he charges us, it does a lot less damage. And now he's dead. Spinosaurus. I'm not familiar with Spinosaurus. But once again, I'm not familiar with much.
Except that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
I'm being asked to turn your volume up, which I can do. Alright. Zenith, if you'll say something, the chat can decide whether that's loud enough.
Hello? Am I good?
I
haven't changed anything that I know of.
You seem a bit loud to me, but if chat can hear you better, I'm fine with you being a little loud on my side. Stratlog will have to tell us, or chat will have to tell us, but I guess it'll be 30 seconds from now before we know.
Yeah.
And now we get to fight that T-Rex. Yeah, we go straight from the Triceratops fight right into the T-Rex fight. First thing we're gonna do is haste up. So really the T-Rex has only one thing that does a lot of damage. It can shoot fire, and that fire can hit you multiple times in a row like it just did to me, and can really put a hurt on you.
Also, for those of you who are going to be here at the end of the marathon, if you don't know, we do have a special surprise at the end when we're doing our wrap-up. I just finished getting it set up, so I hope you guys are ready for that.
That will depend on what time that happens, because I have work in the morning.
Close to midnight, unfortunately.
Then I will not be taking... Actually, you know, we're going to energy shot. I will not be available for that.
This reminds me, I need to go over here and grab this.
Oh yes, the soundtrack to this game is full of bangers. Alright, we gotta make sure we get that gun from the Triceratops. Or not Triceratops, from the T-Rex. Because all the guns thus far, we've gotten 1 action per turn. The gun it drops, it's not 2 bullets per turn. We get 2 actions per turn. And we're gonna take the stats from the gun we've been using and the burst spray off of the shotgun we picked up. And now we have a hand cannon that fires, that we get 2 turns per round, that also uses shotgun shells.
Alright, my little secret for the end is all set up.
Very nice. Alright, looking at my current experience, I actually kind of need an extra fight. Luckily, I know where to get one. I can fight another scorpion. We want to hit level 33 before this day is over. Luckily, the scorpion should give us the amount of experience we need to make sure we do that. Yeah, alright, I'm good on items at this point. You know, we haven't seen the goo in a little while. And we won't see it just yet.
Excellent. I mean, good.
Because I was incorrect on which cutscene we were entering. Alright, so now that the pistol I got from the T-Rex is also a shotgun, which means if they'll group up properly, I can actually hit more than one enemy at a time. Which they only sort of do, but it's really useful against a couple of the final bosses. And I'm 3 experience short. Which means I have to go find another fight. I'm literally 3 experience short. Is there a fight in this room? This is the T-Rex room. 3 experience.
Rip 3 experience.
Yep, now I've just got to fish for a fight.
Alright, well hopefully you haven't been too lonely while I've been setting that little surprise up.
Now
it's like I was never not here.
My mitochondria have kept me. This is worrying. There we go. Alright. Like, whew, okay, cool. 3 raptors, that's fine. I needed a fight. Alright, because that fight, or that level, gives me a power called Liberate, which we will see in the final boss gauntlet. And now I'm gonna get every other fight that can happen along the way, because now I don't need them. It took forever to...
Well, while you do this fight, I want to quickly throw a little promo out for a couple of things. Our sponsors, because I think it has been criminally under-talked. So first off, thank you so much to Knick Knack Nick, who is running Indie-thon, which is happening a month from now. So if you haven't heard of it, you haven't signed up for it, or if you want to be able to be part of their cause, go check out Indie-thon. You can find them on the August schedule. You should be able to just see it right on there and find all their links right there. So thank you so much to Knick Knack Nick for helping me code everything to make this marathon work. And I'm going to be joining Indie-thon as well. Thank you so much to J&S Business Products for coming up with our web store. If you haven't been there and you haven't gotten a piece of merch, that merch disappears on January 2nd. It will no longer be available. We're not going to rerun it. That is it. So if you want a piece of the inaugural season of Green Gaming Fest, go get it because it's going to be gone in just a couple of weeks. There's also, of course, everyone that's been helping me throughout tech, throughout everything on stream. You're going to see a lot of names coming up here at the end, so that's part of the surprise. Stick around for it.
You're gonna see some names. It's a surprise. No. Alright, so I managed to... Good lord. Alright, so I'm getting a bunch of extra fights that I couldn't get originally because I was 3 experience short of level 33. But that's how it goes sometimes. That's okay, because once I enter the next, like 2 doors from here, we're gonna have basically 10 straight minutes of cutscenes. Oh, she blinded me. Do I have Cure D? Probably not. I don't. Alright. Now let's walk up the goo-covered stairs to the goo-covered door.
Because that's completely normal.
Yeah. I mean, in this game, honestly, there being goo everywhere is more normal than the clean spots. Yeah, so from the time I walked in that door until the next time I need to do anything combat-wise, we're talking about 10, 11-ish minutes. With lots of gooiness and fighter jets. Some helicopters are involved. But it's not just one like long 11-minute, cutscene where you can just get up and walk away. It's interspersed cutscene button mash, cutscene button mash, cutscene button mash. Alright, so remember how I accidentally referred to the goo earlier? Well, this time I mean it. It's been a while since we've seen the goo.
One would think that you would find the goo in the load zone.
Oddly enough, you don't, though. They found all the goo in Central Park. And now the goo has bones.
Bone goo.
It's
what
now
could be worse?
It's now bone goo.
I understand why New York gets featured so often, because you think about other cities just don't want to get ruined.
No. New York, they're used to it. Just keep blowing it up. They'll rebuild. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. This is fine.
Let's just destroy, when I really, in a game like this, okay, there are biological reasons why the villain is doing what she's doing. But like anytime there's like a supervillain or whatever, they're like, I will blow up New York City. But why? That's like one of the financial capitals of the world. Isn't like, don't you have money in the stock in stocks? You're a rich supervillain. You gotta have stocks. Like why not blow up Tacoma or something? You know? Then again, I guess that's not as impactful. But still, they don't choose Los Angeles nearly as often as they should.
I mean, I'm thinking even Boston, but I understand why Boston never gets chosen because it's a historical district.
Yeah. Apparently the bone goo sound effects have been heard before in The Legend of Spyro: Dawn of the Dragon.
Makes sense.
That's weird, since I don't believe that game had Squaresoft in it. Alright. So they've decided to attack the goo with attack choppers. Oh, and every time Daniel sees the goo, he's like, no, my ex-wife Lorraine is in that goo, because she was in the crowd at Central Park.
Right.
But he's not happy about the fact that his ex-wife is now just a pile of goo. Apparently the goo has an EMP field and can shoot lasers. Because, you know, why not?
While we wait for... Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, and somehow the military found out that Aya isn't affected by Eve, and thus decided to come find her.
I hate it when that happens. I just wanted to quickly thank everyone again for coming out and donating so much money to this cause. We've raised $1,410 so far, which is well above and beyond the goal that I had for this marathon, so I'm perfectly happy, but I would love to get to $2,000 and force me to go clean a beach in real life. So if we get there, I already have the beach picked out, I have the day picked out, it's going to be live on Twitch for the next marathon in April, so let's make it happen.
Indeed. If you want to watch Sinneth have to slave over a dirty beach all day, donate money. Look, some people are motivated by charity, some by spite. You have to appeal to both sides.
It makes me worried how many people would donate out of spite to be like, oh, I gotta make him slave.
Yeah, he's gonna be on a beach all day. There's gonna be sand everywhere.
Yeah. Oh. Sand is coarse and gets everywhere.
Warning, if you have motion sickness, do not watch the cutscene. Of course, if helicopters are going to fly in New York, they're going to fly real close to all the buildings in weaving patterns and not just fly above everything in a straight line. Oh, so Aya is flying one of these helicopters, and because she can apparently attack the goo. And so they've decided to fly in a straight line so they could protect her, because the fiery shrapnel from helicopters in front of her certainly aren't going to affect her ability to fly that helicopter. Also, why can Aya fly a helicopter? She's a New York City police detective. I don't think they learned that in the academy. Oh, a little bit of goo on your tail rotor.
I hate it when that happens.
Never want any goo on the tail rotor. But now she mad. Headshot. I do that every time because it makes me happy. Oh, and
Nice.
the Statue of Liberty is crying because she's covered in goo. Right, I think she's crying because she sees this pile of goo coming. Wait for it. Bam!
Now, if you all have enjoyed the commentary that you've been getting from Cheesereaver, I would highly recommend go finding him on Discord. He does like to do blind commentary runs. He calls it Royale with Cheese. It is so entertaining to have someone who has never commentated on a game go commentate for that game, and Cheese does it so beautifully.
I'm really good at making up stupid things on the spot, which makes me good at commentating things I've never seen before. No, it's a lot of fun. What you don't want is you don't want me commentating on things I have seen before, because then it's not nearly as good. Alright, I will buy her knowing how to parachute, because, you know, lots of people like to skydive or whatever, but, flying the helicopter, I'm still iffy about.
I mean, it's just a joystick.
Yeah, sure. Alright, now they're gonna sit here and monologue at each other. Like, I would call it a dialogue, but it's really just the two of them monologuing at each other. Because they're not really talking to each other, they're talking at each other. Don't you recognize that my mitochondria are superior? But you can't kill everyone just because they don't have your mitochondria. The ultimate being will kill everyone who doesn't have superior mitochondria. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. No, I'll stop you. That's the gist of this conversation.
I'm trying to remember, did this come out before or after Final Fantasy VII?
After. It actually runs on a very primitive or a very early version of the Final Fantasy VIII engine.
Oh, yeah, it definitely reminds me of that kind of style.
Yeah. That's why definitely there are NPCs in this game. They're looking at him, you're like, wait a minute, I've seen that guy in Final Fantasy VIII. He's standing on a corner in Deling City. Like, yeah, that's a real thing.
Welcome, Trigirl, to the stream.
Welcome. My goo! My precious goo!
Try, donate $10 and make Cheese do the rap live. Just saying.
Alright, so because she's hanging at the top of the screen, you can't really see it. But there are 3 parts to this boss, but because I have the shotgun, I'm hitting all 3 parts at once. Okay, we have a grunt, so 1 piece is dead. Alright, the rest of them are dead. Mugi saying the text I skipped says the chopper's on autopilot. Alright, maybe that happened. I don't know. It's been a while since my last casual playthrough. Alright, so that is Eve 4. We have 1 more Eve fight. And then still another day to the game, though the final day of the game is just a boss gauntlet.
Also, chat, I just wanted to quickly point out, so at the very beginning of this marathon, we did a pre-show with Try-Girl collecting trash and raft. She collected 714 pounds. Obviously, we've done a whole lot more than that. But doing the math, we're actually very close to doubling that. So what is that? That's 1428 if you double it. So if we get 18 more dollars, we're going to double what Try did.
Alright, and now you're seeing the ultimate ability that I took all those extra fights for in the museum. Liberate. You basically turn into a mitochondria angel and punch the enemy 7 times. And that is Final Eve.
Heck, Final Eve.
There's Final Eve with her hair hands. Except they crystallize and shatter, and there are hair hands no more. But her hair is still there. And now, after controlling it for so long, she becomes one with the goo. The goo! Right there, in front of the crying Statue of Liberty. Alright, and then day 6. Like I said, day 6 is really just a boss gauntlet. Also, speaking of cleaning up the ocean, look how much goo is in the ocean. Luckily, it's all mitochondria, so it should biodegrade pretty nicely, but still, that's a lot of goo in the ocean.
I mean, think about it this way. Is this what you want the ocean to look like?
Do you want it covered in amorphous red goo? No. But you also don't want it covered in plastic bags.
Plastic bags that will degrade into amorphous red goo.
Also not great. Alright, so Wayne from the precinct, the storage guy, is here. And so this game has a new game plus system where you can actually get the quote-unquote true ending by going through the 77 floors of the Chrysler building. We're not going to do that, but
Right.
when you do New Game Plus, you can you can keep a weapon and an armor from your first run, and Wayne right there offers to inscribe a weapon and an armor, and those are the ones you get to keep. No, I'm not doing the entire Chrysler building, though there is a category for Chrysler building percent, but you only do the top 7 floors.
So we just got a huge donation from the Archipelago community. IJWU, I'm not going to try and pronounce your name. I know how to spell it usually. Comes in with $100. It says, "Big love from Archipelago. Save the animals." Thank you so much. I apologize if I spelled it wrong or not pronouncing it right, but thank you so much. I know the Archipelago community very well. You guys have been so cool, and I love that you came in and did the donation. We're at 1510 now. That is amazing. So we have officially doubled Try-Girl's effort in collecting trash and cheese.
Get on our level.
Time for you.
Get on our level, Try. And because that donation was $10 or greater, now it's time for the Energy Maker, the powerhouse. I'm a real booty shaker. I make ATP out of oxygen and food. What's my name? Mitochondria, dude. That's for all you out there who have donated at least $10. Also, Purple Baby Morba. And big love to Archipelago. That's awesome.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what Archipelago is, go check out Archipelago. I can go get the invite link for you. It's a huge development where we are taking all the different randomizers and turning them into one big multi-world that you can play with your friends.
So in a scene right there, Maida was trying to turn around and give us something, but Daniel was like, no, we've got to go, we've got to go. You'll find out in a moment that was a stupid play by Daniel, and he should have let Maida give us that thing. And if anybody wants to hear that rap again, up until I'm done here, I'm happy to do it anytime anybody donates $10 or more. Getting good damage on ultimate being 1. Ooh, managed to not take... So, UB1 has an ability where it drops to the ground and does that big the ring. If you don't damage yourself on him at the exact right moment, it drops you to 1 hit point no matter what you're at. It's not fun. Okay, you woke up and chose violence. All right, you know what? We're gonna risk it for the biscuit. I'm gonna liberate early here on Ultimate Being 2. Normally I would wait until the wings and the body split, but we're gonna see what we can do. Luckily I have 2 revives, so even if this goes terribly, we'll be okay. Oh, and I got crit, which is unfortunate, but that's why I have revives. Alright, there we go. Alright, that Ultimate Being 2 didn't do well. Sadly, I did not do the Theater Kids bit this time. We were talking about cleaning up the ocean at the time, so I didn't have a chance to. Alright, so that was Ultimate Being 2. This is Ultimate Being 3.
Yeah, speaking of some of the things that Cheese has not been able to do, he does on his stream when he runs this. Be sure to follow Cheesereaver if you haven't already. I believe I have the right link here. Let me double check. Nope. I'll fix that right now.
VSR, I'm pretty sure that was pretty early this morning because I didn't get a chance to catch it because, you know, I was sleeping so that I could do this run.
I will admit that I am being a little slow on this because I'm wearing all the hats right now.
Yeah, you've been at this for, you know, well over 48 hours now. It's all good, man. We understand. Alright, and now we shoot and liberate. And that is me. I mostly run Parasite Eve. Every now and then I run random other stuff. But that's more casual. Speedrun wise, I pretty much just do Parasite Eve these days. And there is a channel points reward on my channel, specifically for hearing me do the rap.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, there is Ultimate Being 3, which is really kind of the last real boss of the game. There's another fight, but some stuff happens, making it more of a victory lap than a real boss.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the jellyfish, ultimate being 4. And we are actually going to unequip our super awesome gun for this kind of bad submachine gun. Because right now, no matter what we do 1 damage to him. And the submachine gun just fires more bullets per round. Because we needed to do at least 20 damage to him to get a cutscene. So remember how I mentioned that Maida was trying to give us something? Well, they're bullets that are laced with our DNA. And Daniel stopped it. So he decided, okay, well, I gotta get her these bullets. And I'm in a helicopter. What's the best way to get somebody bullets that are on an aircraft carrier when you're in a helicopter? Jump out of the helicopter. Burst into flames. Throw the bullets. And then belly flop into the ocean. To be on fire and have the wherewithal to throw that ammo with that good of aim, I got nothing but mad respect for Daniel. Oh, and also, Maida's gun, which he gave us in the museum, which I mentioned was the worst gun in the game, it's the only gun these bullets work in, and these bullets always do max damage. So it only takes 8 bullets to finish off this last boss. And like any good game, we have an escape sequence coming.
He's on fire.
He's on fire. Or actually, I believe Moogie is referencing NBA Jam. He's on fire. Fire. Do do do. I'll teach you to burn. Alright, so the remains of the jellyfish are gonna start chasing me. And if it catches up with you at any point during this, it's game over.
I know I've said it a lot this run, but I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, this is very much, you have to know where you're going, because if you hold the wrong direction at the beginning, you can run right back into him and die. And the music is like Jaws, but it keeps getting faster. Like, well, actually, no, it doesn't keep getting faster. It's pretty much... Alright, and if you don't do this, you also die. So, she mentions the boiler room, right? Well, if you don't touch this panel in the boiler room, no matter what, the ultimate being will catch you before you can escape. We're in Hell's Kitchen. Which, when I first played this game, did not realize was a neighborhood in New York City, and did not understand the reference at all. Alright, time will be coming up pretty quickly here. It'll be when the screen fades to black on the last screen, which is the one after the stairs. So you're up on the stairs. It just decides, you know what, I'm going to fly up these stairs. And that's time.
Good game.
Thank you, thank you. Could not have done it without my mitochondria, as you know, but the powerhouse of the cell.
Definitely.
So some things explode. Well, the entire ship explodes, taking the remnants of the ultimate being with you. Which really, if all it took was a ship exploding, some of the other stuff the military did should have worked. Maybe it had to happen after Aya had ripped it to shreds with bullets made out of her own DNA.
To shreds, you say?
To shreds. But yeah, that is it. That's Parasite Eve.
I believe that was a 2:46:23 if my timer's right.
Did we start the timer at the very beginning?
Oh no, add 6 minutes.
So 2:52-ish. Yeah, that's not bad for a marathon run. I did some marathon safeties and whatnot. So I'll take it. But yeah, that's all I've got. And you know what? One more time, even without a donation, I'll do the spoken word version. Now it's time for the energy maker, the powerhouse, a real booty shaker. I make ATP out of oxygen and food. What is my name? Mitochondria, dude.
Love it. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me, Sinith, and everybody
Yeah.
at Team Green Gaming. This was a lot of fun, and it's a great cause. And everybody should donate money to make Sinith go clean up a beach all day in April. All day.
Definitely. All day.
You could either
Sun
do it
up
out
to
of the
sundown.
the goodness of your heart because he'll be cleaning up trash, or out of pure spite because he'll have to be cleaning up trash all day. Either one works.
And just a quick reminder, we do have $88 coming from you. Thank you for that, by the way. I really appreciate it. If anyone wants to match the 88 times that mitochondria was mentioned in this game, be sure to match it either 10 cents per, $1 per, multiply it how you want.
Exactly.
As long as it gets donated.
Exactly. And as soon as the next run starts up, I'll get that in. I've got to get my Tiltify going and whatnot. Yeah. And that's all I've got. If you want to switch back to Splash.
And we'll switch over in just a second.